Hey guys, welcome back. You're watching day 12 of our 13 days of Halloween series here at Polly's Paper Studio. I am Ginny and I have a much improved voice today. I want to give a quick shout out to everyone who has left me kind comments about that, and you're all so sweet and thoughtful, and you're just all the very best. So this is a book that is a accordion style, and I first wanted to do a one sheet wonder where you score all the page and flip all the things, and I tried multiple times and I was like, why don't you like me? I just couldn't make it work. For some reason it wound up being bulky and not folding correctly, and I was just like, you know what, if it's this hard, I think we should just move on. So I did decide to go for an accordion style. I did make it a little bit different than previous examples shown. This is not an original idea, but I did add to it so that I could make it more fit the paper and embellishments that I had. I'm using the Bo Bunny Wonderfully Wicked papers, and this is a very cute vintagey collection, and then I've got a sticker sheet for my stash that I'm using as my images. The nice thing about this book is that it takes only 2 sheets of 12 by 12 cardstock to create the base, and because the pages are now 4 by 6, they're going to be a good use of your pattern papers. And so I've just got some layers of those patterns and mixed in with some of the fun sticker images. There's still plenty of room to add pictures and journaling, and these up on the top are tuck spots, so you could easily work your pictures underneath that and utilize all that space. So here is the last page, and I've got some spider webs and more of that beautiful purple rose from the cover, and the back is finished with the coordinating paper as well. So let's make this together. To start the base of the book, you're going to need 4 pieces of paper. I have 2 that are cut at 6 by 12 inches. I have 1 that is cut at 6 by 8 inches and 1 that is cut by 6 by 8 1/4. So for each of the 6 by 12 pieces, you do want to score that at 4 and at 8. So that's very easy, and that will become the accordion parts of this book. So that is for each of these. Then your first smaller piece is going to be 8 inches, and you want to score that just at 4. And then your second one is going to be at 4 and 4 1/4. So now we have all the parts ready to assemble the book. You can go ahead now and reinforce those score lines with the scoring tool. And do that for all the pieces. So once you've gotten all your score lines creased well, you can take the 2 longer sections and the smaller of the shorter sections and combine them to make the inside of the book. So basically what we're going to do is sandwich them this way so that it becomes one long accordion fold. You can use double-sided adhesive for this, or wet adhesive, whatever is your favorite. Just for the purpose of showing you today, I'm going to use my ATG, but I would recommend a stronger double-sided adhesive if that's what you choose. So you will also want to consider using the papers that will coordinate with your project. I'm just demonstrating with this yellow because it is what I have on hand. So now this piece goes here. This is my ATG. I set a cup of coffee on it and it melted the top. So don't do that. Okay, so now this is the accordion fold, and you want to take your second and attach it to the outside so that it becomes this on the inside. You want to make sure that you have your folds going in the direction so that you have the 2 pages on the inside. And just line that up with your cover. I would typically like to use some 110-pound cardstock because that is just much sturdier. But for this book, you're getting a lot of layers in a small amount of space. So you do want to use the regular 65-pound weight cardstock. Okay, now just bend that cover over and it will create the spine for the book. So we're going to work on the inside of the book first. That makes sense because that way you're not trying to work around the bulky items added to the front. So I'm just going to begin by layering this pattern paper, and you want to be very careful not to add bulk to the inside of this book. So I'm only going to add a few layers of the paper, and that way I'm not going to create that V shape of a book that gets too bulky to close. So here is a second layer of that black cardstock, and this is going to be nice matting for the other pattern paper I've chosen to use, which is a very fun and festive and not so traditional Halloween combination. And here is this page already ready to go. And that will complete the first 2 pages. I think we're gonna go ahead and add all the pattern papers first and then come back with the embellishments. So that is page 1 and 2. Now these pages will have a complementary color combination, but with a slightly different pattern. And so this is going to be a large base with the companion paper added as a stripe at the bottom. So now we know that this book is 4 inches wide. That makes it very easy to cut all the paper for the inside because all the pages are going to have the exact same measurements, and that goes much faster. And it's a good use of the 12 by 12 pattern paper as well because you're not going to create a lot of waste. So here is that pattern again. I think it makes sense for pages that are together to be the same because that keeps it from looking very busy. And here is that stripe. So that is the pattern paper for the next 2 set of pages. So we're working along here. This is also adding a lot of sturdiness. So it's going to be bulky, but not so much that it won't close, but it definitely will have a nice chunky feel. So for the last 2 pages, I've just picked this spider web pattern. I like the scale of it to show more, so I'm not adding additional layers. And that way, once you've added your pictures and your journaling cards, you can really see the pattern underneath. It's not lost underneath layers. And here is one more for the back inside. And for the back outside, I've got that rest of that very sweet and very vintagey orange and black pattern. So that is going to be covered now, and you can see that we're really building up the thickness. It's getting very sturdy. So I picked a sticker sheet from my stash, and I wish I could tell you where it's from, but I had to cut off the branding strip to make it fit in the cabinet, and then I just, I don't know where it's from, but you could easily substitute any stickers or vintage image printables that you have in your own stash, because this is just this very simple book to create. This is a floral. I did adhere that to some pattern paper, cut it back out, and then added it to foam spacers because that's for the cover, and I can build dimension there without causing the book not to close properly. And this image is going to be for the cover as well. For the smaller of these squares, I just cut some coordinating black cardstock and added it to them so that I could use them as one is for the cover, and then one for each set of pages as a tuck spot. And so I am going to add that just with a little of the liquid adhesive, because I do feel like that is going to hold better. So I'll do that and I'll be right back. To not add all of these sticker tuck spots in the same place, because I don't want to add all the bulk in one section to the book. So while that sets up, let's flip back and see this one I've added to the side, and then this one is over here. So the thing about stickers, and I do struggle with using them sometimes, is just because they're fairly permanent once you stick them down, and it's hard to rearrange them and get a good design without having to stick them to something and cut them out and move them around. So I myself do struggle. I know a lot of people love them, but in this instance, this is going to be your friend, because you want to add all of these fun images without adding the bulk that you would get from like layered chipboard or poofy stickers. So go ahead and decide what will work for your inside pages. So I think I want to add one of the larger ones here, maybe to the corner. This is a 2-part sticker, so that makes it nice. You can get it on straight. This little potion bottle goes inside. You could just as easily do this with die cuts if you have those, or print some vintage images and clip them out. What do you think? Maybe we like this pumpkin too for that. And just because it's there does not mean you have to use it. So sometimes stickers will get left behind, and that is okay. You do not have to feel guilty about not using every single piece. So I think maybe that branch could go at the top. And that would be a cute way to frame out your picture. Okay, so I want to add that, I think, to the top. And it does look like it's going to be a little bit long. So why don't I clip that before I add it? And that way it will be easier than trying to remove that excess after it's stuck down. Yeah, so let's put that branch right here. And that'll be a cute place to add a picture. Make sure this is very well adhered. Okay, now next set of pages I thought would look cute if it had maybe the hat here and a potion sticker. So let's put that here. You could also consider adding the stickers after you have your pictures down, and that way you're definitely going to leave yourself plenty of room to get all those on. Okay, I was thinking about the spider web for this page, but look, it's already very spider webby, so let's add it over here. And then if we put a picture on, it could cover part of that edge, and that would still look cool, and it would just be sort of a layered detail. Alright, so let's say the back page should have the little cauldron and the broom. And to me it makes sense to put the broom down first and layer the smaller elements over top. So now we can put the cauldron And since there's purple up here, why don't we bring in that rose sticker and finish off this arrangement at the bottom. There's a couple of bats here and a cat. I don't know. Let's say, see, just because it's there doesn't mean you have to use it. So let's leave those for if you have a sticker that you want to layer a sentiment over or an image. I kind of like these to put on the top and the bottom of this layout. Let's see, let's cut. This is design on the fly. All right, yeah, that's cool. Let's put that up here. And the Halloween at the bottom. And that really does show up nicely against that black background paper. That's pretty cool. All right, so what we're left with is an eye of newt, I think, a cat and some bats and a spider. I don't know. Maybe we could put the spider on here. And that's kind of a good layer. And we'll see how we get with the cover, and maybe we can work those in. But if we don't, that's okay. And then also, I think these are good to use for when the pictures are in. So let's do that. Okay, on the cover, I've got this started already. I added a piece of the patterned paper to a secondary piece of the cardstock so that it would be very sturdy. And then I've added the foam to that so that we can build up that layer and then leave a well in the middle for the ribbon because you don't want to create a lump there. So I'm just going to add this to the bottom, being careful, and that sort of mimics that stripe in the middle. And then I've got a smaller section, and normally I would have this raised up, but since I've added so much foam dots to the back of that floral, that's just not really going to be a good way to build dimension. So I'm gonna let this be flat against the book too. And I just kind of want it sort of in the center and topped with this. I did pick out one of those sentiment stickers for that because I thought that looked really cute in the corner. So that is just going to be a nice border around that pattern paper, and that helps to keep all those patterns from looking very busy. So I think maybe this is a good time to add it to the book, and that way we can begin to put more of the trims on and not worry about having to move it around. So here's the trim I've decided to use. That's more of that violet colored plaid ribbon from Really Reasonable Ribbon, and I want a generous length here so I can wrap it around and tie a good bow. So I'm just gonna sort that into a good length that I know will work and clip it off. I can fix that edge later. So you want to secure that underneath, and this is just some wet adhesive so that ribbon will stick down into it. And then I'm just going to lay that over, and that will set up as we work along. So here is the cover again. That was very quick. We made that very fast and with very little parts so far. Here is some more wet adhesive for the foam that will hold that down, just to make sure that that is centered well on the cover. And it's a good idea to hold it in place just for a bit while that glue sets up. So I'm gonna bring in all my other elements here while we're waiting. So here's one more of those stickers that were the smaller squares that I matted with the cardstock, and I want to add that right here. I think it's interesting to build it off of the edge. so that we're not just working right in the middle. And then this was the original inspiration image, and I'm thinking that it's going to be 2 separate stickers again, so I'm going to just really carefully peel that and add it right here, and that's going to overlap so it'll have a good layered look. And make sure that everything lines up and press it into place. So here is that rose. They're more of an arrangement, and I have that on some very thick, these are American Crafts Sticky Thumb foam dots, and I like that right here at the bottom to kind of finish off this arrangement. And then it makes sense of that purple as well. So I want to angle that just a little bit, I think, making sure that this corner stays on the cover, because you don't want any hanging off parts, and that will be prone to getting damaged. Okay, so last but not least, I've got some coordinating sequins here, and I'm going to add them to the top. Can you believe we're at day 12 already, you guys? This has gone so fast. And you've all been so nice and patient and kind about me losing my voice, but I am definitely feeling a whole lot better. Okay, so that is it for day 12 of our 13 Days of Halloween series. If you enjoyed this project, please come back tomorrow for our last day, 13, and you can leave me a comment and leave me a thumbs up. If you're not already, I would love for you to subscribe. As always, I wish you a happy and productive day, and I thank you so much for watching. Bye.